Really, 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 really quick. Cecily, first thing that comes to your mind. What's your favorite yoga pose?
It was immediately camel. But I don't think that is my favorite yoga pose, but that's what the angels told me to say.
Heart opener. That makes sense for you, a heart opener. My favorite yoga pose, I think it's a pose I can't do yet.
Which one?
Handstand, which is like so lame because it really is such a terrible goal because it is just not for everybody. But I think, okay, I'm changing my answer. My favorite yoga pose is dancer pose. Biggest yoga pet peeve.
Like in the classroom?
Yeah.
I have so many. I'm really sorry. Guys, that's going to be a whole conversation because I have a lot. This is our first episode. We're so excited that you're here. This is absolutely amazing.
Shout out to our moms who are hopefully listening.
Mums, we love you. I think they're going to be maybe the only listeners. Just kidding. So subscribe to our Instagram, Two Blonde Yogi Pod.
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes.
You can see who you are.
Yoga is one of the oldest forms of healing therapy.
The important thing is that you go at your own pace.
I'm like yelling in my poor husband's face.
I can hear you.
No, so welcome to Two Blonde Yogis. We are so excited to be here. I'm Cecily.
I'm Jaime.
So we really just wanted to create this podcast because there's a lot of podcasts out there. So it's like, why did we decide to do this, right? For me, it was because yoga is something that I care so much about. I own a yoga studio in San Clemente, California, and I've been kind of doing yoga for 10 years now. And it's this like amazing, beautiful, intense practice, but also it's a culture, it's a lifestyle, there's so many different aspects to it that makes me excited, but also there's so many questions that I have. And I think with me and Jaime, we have been hosting yoga retreats together for a few years now. And we have these beautiful conversations at the end of each night on our yoga retreat. And we're like, I think other people will have these questions too. And these like desire to discover a little bit deeper about the world in which we care so much about, this beautiful Eastern style of living and practicing and belief that is now brought here to the West, and how can we kind of deepen our understanding of it a little bit? What do you think, Jaime?
Yeah, yoga really changed our lives, and there's so many different aspects to it all, but what we want to do is carve out a space because we're also aware that yoga can be performative. We know that yoga can be just a wellness culture in general, can be hierarchical, there's misinformation, and so we want to talk about all of the weird things. Like, it's not a religion, it's not just for women, it's not even just for Indians, which is funny. A side story about that. I went to India. I was so surprised because I ended up somehow talking to a room full of Indian natives about yoga. And I was like, this is so backwards. But it was also such proof that it doesn't belong to one group. However, I'm so grateful to the subcontinent of India for the culture that has created this way of existing similar to some religions like Buddhism or Hinduism, but it's not a religion, it's a technology. And I think you and I have so many conversations where we're talking about that exact thing, but it's not just a technology of the asanas, right? The poses. And we will get into the history and the details and the nitty-gritty of it, but largely speaking, it's a technology, it's a vehicle of how to be a spirit, like how to be a loving, heart-centered being that also has a mind and also has a body, and how to balance all of that, especially in this modern age where we're not exactly sitting in a cave on a mountain, reaching nirvana and meditating. We have to go to the grocery store, and we have social media. We have all these factors, these things taking and borrowing our awareness. and just a practice of coming home to ourselves. So we're never ever going to be like, we have all of the answers. We just want a platform where we can have honest conversations about this beautiful thing that incorporates light and shadow.
I agree. I think well said.
Thank you.
When we talked about wanting to do this podcast, it like flooded us with excitement. And I think that I get a lot of questions on the daily. Even just at the yoga studio, people will ask me a lot of different questions. And sometimes I get a lot of misconception. The number one thing that people say to me is, I can't do yoga. I'm not flexible. And I want to like break that thought process like right out of the water, because I just think that yoga is so beyond the poses, the flexibility, and it was brought kind of to the East. Wait, are we in the East or the West?
We're in the West.
Rocky, cut that out. It was brought to the West because of technically sort of these postures, and then slowly, luckily, there were all of these little like additional, like, I don't want to say like leakages, but like all these additional
channels, variations.
Channels, like tricklings. Yeah, these tricklings and variations that started to come through that was like showing the world how there's so much more. And I think that exactly as you're saying, we've gotten kind of stuck into this like autopilot. And the beauty that I really love about yoga is that it takes us off autopilot and it helps us recognize that we have so many different sides to ourselves that we get to explore and deepen. And at the end and then at the root of it, it's love. We're all the same. We're all different. How can we live in this duality and balance it and discover it a little bit deeper?
That's beautiful. Yeah. If I could add to your analogy of the ocean or water, I think that's so also what we want to offer that might be a little bit different, is that there's a very feminine way of doing yoga. And I don't mean it in a gendered way, but if yoga is this big ocean, and I love the analogy of these trickling little rivers that are all leading essentially back to the ocean. If water condenses and becomes rain, it all comes back down to the earth. And I think you and I are so sincere in the way that we show up to our practice as exactly the word you use, dynamic beings, because sometimes you're mad and sometimes you're sad and sometimes you're ecstatic, but we don't do yoga for the poses. We do the poses for the yoga. We do the poses to get to the feeling, because there is a breakthrough moment when you're trying a hard thing, or you are working on your flexibility, or you are sitting in stillness or quiet. Again, there's so many different ways to do yoga, but we do it all to feel. And so many of us are numb or avoiding or feeling too much. And how can we take that stream and make it what you need in the moment? How can we take that channel? And two, to honor the tradition of yoga, sorry if I'm going on a tangent, but I don't want to forget, but yoga truly started as an oracular thing. It was from conversations with guru, these sages, these masters, and they were tuned into their spirit, and so they could speak wisdom. And so, yes, you and I can be teaching a yoga class and we're like, here's the technicalities. This is where your hip bone should be pointing. This is how you can do a handstand. But that's just one part of it, because truly it is these conversations that is yoga, where we can pass on love and wisdom and guidance. And you, as my friend, are one of the people that I trust so much. And I want to share your voice too. It's another reason I'm so excited to start this with you specifically, Cecily, is that you have my heart. Like, you have, oh, I'm getting emotional. You have my spirit and your heart, and you water it and you care for it and you do that with everyone that is in front of you, and it's just a light and it's just something that you do automatically that you don't necessarily see as like such a gift to the world. So setting up to do this podcast is also me saying, I want everyone to see that good people exist. And yeah, thank you. Thank you for being the best.
Why are you so cute? I cannot. I just wholeheartedly agree. And I think one of the things, I agree with all the things you said. No, I just appreciate you. And I think that it's so special that I found you, because we see things in such a linear way, but we see it from so many different sides. And you have this beautiful depth to you that I can only dream of, in my opinion. The way that you see the world and the way that you interact with all the levels of the world, it's like, I feel like you see in Technicolor. And I just kind of get to see through, like a watercolor. And so it's so special because you kind of like open up. It's like you get to peek behind the curtain and you like bring me with you. And you're like, come look through, like, come see this. And so I'm really excited to deep dive into all of these topics with you, Jaime, because there is, I think the power of questioning is something that we really can appreciate, because I think nowadays a lot of people want to know and they want to be the master of it and they want to tell people exactly how to feel and exactly what to think and exactly what to believe and exactly what to eat and how to monitor their lifestyle. And I think you and I are not interested in that. I don't think we want to be the masters of anything. And if you're listening to this podcast, we're not here to try to tell you what to do. We're not trying to tell you what to think. Truly, we just want to ask some questions so that you can question. Because we are living in a duality. We are living in this beautiful world where everything can be beautiful, but also everything can be really hard at the same time. And how do we live with that? How do we appreciate that? How do we navigate that? And that's why I think that we're here, and that's why I'm really happy to be doing this with you, Jaime, because I'm excited to go on this journey together and to deep dive into the complexity that is being a human. And I will never forget the thing that you said to me in one of your yoga classes. Maybe you won't even say it to me. You're saying it to the class, but I took it and I held it in my heart. And it's something that I come back to all the time, is that we're in Earth School. And I cannot get over that imagery, because we're here and we're struggling, and that's part of it. So I might not be happy that I'm struggling right now, but I know that this is part of it and this is part of learning. And I've come to terms with being okay with that. And I want to encourage other people to come to terms with being okay with so many different aspects of their life. It doesn't mean that it's right. It doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt in the moment, but how can we empower each other? How can we empower this new community that we're wanting to create, to see that we're in control, but also we're not, and that's okay. It's crazy.
I love that. Yes, it's connection. And I think through the practice of yoga, time and time again, you see how cyclical reality is. And when you are sad, you will be happy. When, I love what you're saying. The nature of reality is duality, but in some ways you can have hope and faith and trust in that the pendulum's always going to swing. But the higher we vibrate, the more we are embodied in our vessel. That spiral gets a little bit easier, because we don't have to keep learning the same lesson the same way. You're right on the kaleidoscope, or the different ways that we can all view something. I like to think of like a disco ball, right? Like you have the great central sun, and if you have this light beam on a disco ball, the disco ball is scattered all over, making all these beautiful rainbows, but it is still one source of the light and all these different hues and all these different spectrums. And that's what I appreciate, saying that, speaking of the technology of yoga, you are looking at the practical and the mystical at the same time. Like how can we nourish ourselves with the foods that we can eat? But also at the same time, how can we not be I don't know if this is the right word, but like a slave. Like, how can we not be so underneath our rigidity of being healthy? Like, it doesn't need to be a trap or a cage, but also we can take care of our vessel. Like, there's just, everything is two sides. And yeah, so what was happening in your life when you found yoga?
Wait, that's such a great question. The original class that I ever took, I was in Australia, but it was just like a one-time class, and I was working at a candle shop, and I like took yoga, and we can talk about that, but I don't know if that's really the answer. But I didn't want to disregard that one time because I took it and I like hated it, and I never came back to it. Well, I took it, I did not like it, and then it took me years to come back to it. But when I truly found yoga, I was working at, it was called the Hilo Dunker, and it was this great job that I got when I moved out to California, and I was training the Marines survival training on how to get out of a helicopter that's crashed in the ocean. So I was like doing that for a few years, and
Just girly things.
just hanging out on Camp Pendleton. So I had joined this job, and I was the only female. It was all men. I think I was the youngest too. I think I was 22 at the time when I got the job, and they were all a little bit older. They were like in their 40s and 50s. And one of the guys there, he's like a very special friend to me, he was like, look, I think you should start doing yoga. It's going to help your breath hold, because we were supposed to be under the water and be able to hold our breath for up to, the max was like 2 minutes when we were in the water with these Marines, just in case our like breathing devices failed. We couldn't leave the water. We couldn't leave them unattended. So we had to be able to hold our breath. And I was a scuba diver at the time, so I was very comfortable underwater, but I didn't have a very good breath hold. So he encouraged me to go to Bikram classes. So I went, at the time it was called Bikram, now it's called 26 and 2, which we'll talk about as well. But I started going to Bikram yoga in Oceanside, and it was so hard. I loved it. 90 minutes of just sort of torture. It was so intense. But for me at the time, I really wanted that challenge. And the way that you have to breathe in the yoga room, the way that it's so hot, the structure of it, it gave me this discipline that got me to where I needed to be for the job that I had. So I really enjoyed that. And it also changed my body, like the sequence and the heat, and it strengthens you a lot. So I think that also was an aspect that I enjoyed. At 22, I think that was something that made me feel really good. And so it was improving my life. It was improving my body. It was improving my job. And there was just like all of these boxes checked. And I was like, wow, this is really awesome. I really like this. I'm starting to get good at it. I like that you can kind of see the progression of the poses. And after a year of doing that same lovely friend was like, I think you should do the teacher training. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm doing Bikram and you're asking me to do a 200-hour vinyasa training. Like, that doesn't even make sense. And I was walking into the room to ask questions and see if I wanted to sign up and if it was something that I wanted to do. And I almost ran out of the room. Like, my life would have changed so dramatically if I would have ran out of the room. And that, I think about that moment a lot because now I own a yoga studio and it is absolutely my life, and it's something that I just think about every single day. But I stayed and I signed up, and then here we are.
I do
Crazy.
think.
What about you? Yeah.
I mean, yoga chooses you. I really do believe that. I actually, it's so funny because today, a little wink wink from the universe, but you know how the iPhone says like your phone memories or whatever?
Yeah.
It was like 12 years ago, and it was like me practicing like a bow and arrow kind of pose that I had learned, because the first class I ever took was a Groupon for a Bikram also. Yeah, and I look at that picture and I'm like, oh, sweetheart, like you are so deeply into your lower back. Like that is not how you do that. But like, it's okay. But yeah, it was Bikram too. And I have a lot to say about that whole situation. If you know, he got a little canceled for good reasons, but we'll go into the taboos and the guruship and the overpowering of what can happen when your ego gets really inflated. However, the practice was life-changing because it was so hard. But that feeling when you finally lay down for that final Shavasana and they open the door, like you are one with yourself because you're like, holy crap, I did that. And you sweat and like all the oxytocin, it's incredible. And I wanted to die also, but my teacher at the time was pregnant doing that. And I was like, what's my excuse, you know? So it was a little bit before 12 years ago. I think I'd already been practicing by that photo, so like 13 years ago. And then it had some falling outs and coming and going with it, but that was that first class, just kicked my butt. And then after that, I just fell in love because there's just so much to it. And then you did the teacher training and blah, blah, blah. Just so we know, I am streaming live from Italy, and Cecily's out in California. But just to give a little background so you know that I'm not just talking without any experience, but I'm also trained in many different forms of yoga. I think I have over like 800 hours of training and more than that for teaching. And just it's been phenomenal to deepen in something that is absolutely endless, because even with kind of a more qualified in the terms of the world, I am a qualified yoga teacher, but in no way have I even really scratched the surface, because there's just so much and it's just so fantastic. Okay, so my next question for you.
I think, wait, really quick, because
yeah.
I think that I had a question for you. When do you think it shifted from I'm doing the class, I'm doing the poses, I'm crushing the poses, this is the pose I want to work on, when it was like really pose central? When did you feel a shift that it was no longer all about that? Even if it was a trickle.
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, what comes to my mind was off of the mat. And I will stand by this, yoga is off of the mat. But I was having such gnarly health problems, and this is something that I don't really like to talk about, but I was just fainting, like driving a car, like I was just passing out and having panic attacks and just, and there was a moment when I was having a panic attack while driving, and I pulled over, and it was just this voice in my head that even though I was, trying all this crazy yoga and perspiring and breathing, and it was just breathe. And just to remember that, like that place in my body where I have felt so good and so safe in Shavasana or whatever. And that's when it really shifted for me. It was like, oh, this practice is teaching me how to be alive. And then it was crazy just how much it turned my life around and my health around, and to really feel like I healed myself, because I was going to doctors and never really getting an answer. But yeah, I think a lot of people love to talk about their ailments, and I'm a big believer that if you were speaking our reality to an existence, so I don't ever even like to say I'm sick when I am clearly like snotty and barfing. Like we are getting well, and our bodies are healing machines, and our bodies are designed to make us healthy and happy. They just need the tools. So that was the moment. It was just like, oh, this is a healing device. Like, yeah.
No, that's really stunning and really amazing, because I do think there is a huge shift that happens, and I can't think about my first one. I don't know if it was like that. But thank you for sharing that as well. Like, it's hard and it's scary, and it's hard when it's medical too, because it's like we lean so deep into doctors, and doctors have their place, and I appreciate doctors. They go really, to school, and they do so much for us, and they have to really study a lot of things, and there's so much more information that they're getting all the time.
Yes.
And so it's hard because we have to lean into this outside source, which there is a place for.
Yes.
But then when you get to deep dive into your own body and start to even just consider that you have more power than you think you do,
Huge.
I think a lot of things change. Yeah, a lot of things change. And that's really exciting, because it's like releasing control gives you more control and allows you to, but it's not even control. It's like releasing control allows you to live better. You know, and so that's really amazing, where you're like, I don't have to be this hyper stressed. I don't have to be like seeking outward things for everything. I can like sit here and I can breathe my breath, and I can feel my body, and I can hear myself, and I can now heal myself. It's very interesting and magical. And I'm curious if any of the listeners have had a similar experience. I'd love to hear about if they send it in.
We would love to hear anyone else's experience with yoga too, in a way that it drastically changed something. We love the miraculous stories. And I just want to also preface, allopathic medicine is amazing. If I have a broken arm, I'm not going to be like, you should get some Reiki. Like, if you were just if you were just vibrating higher,
put a crystal on it.
Yeah, like for sure. Like, thank goodness for science. I just don't see. I think that there's a loss, and this is maybe a bold claim, but there is a loss to the science community for not considering what science started out with, but the spirit science and the metaphysical science, because there is no secret that what we cannot observe with our eyes is still existing. We can actually measure the radiating electromagnetic frequency around a plant, and we also have that. So, but I also love being alive right now, because I do think that it's all connecting.
Yes, I agree. And I hope you didn't think that I was diminishing your beautiful story. Okay.
I'm just saying to the general public, I don't want to get in trouble.
We are not doctors, and we're not claiming that you can rub a crystal on it and next morning it'll be healed.
But it won't hurt.
Love a crystal.
It will not hurt. Rub a crystal on it.
It will not hurt you. And it's cute. Buy some. Yeah. But it's so amazing. And for me, I think... and this is what I appreciate about you as well. Like, our stories are so different. And like, for me, I think with yoga, the thing that has helped me the most is like the ego self. And I don't necessarily think that I was very egotistical before. I don't think I was like running around being like, I'm the best. But maybe there was this part of me that was like I think also it's a struggle for women and for men as well, beautiful men and beautiful women. But I think that for me, comparison has always been a thing. And I think comparison has this huge ego part. And it's not saying that I'm the best, but because there's comparison, there's this like grating in your soul. And I think yoga, once I took it off the mat, it helped me exponentially with the ego self. And for me, I think the root of that a lot was comparison. And I can just remember a very specific time where, and I was a yoga teacher at the time, and I remember I was taking this yoga class and I loved the teacher. I thought she was amazing. The things she said, the way she talked, I was like, this is everything. Like, can I be her? I love this. I'm going to try to like say the things she says. And I remember the next day I was like trying to kind of like not impersonate her, although it is the like best form of flattery or whatever. But I think I just like wanted to like embody the things that she was saying. And so I was like trying to kind of like present as a style that she was doing. And it was the worst class I've ever taught. Oh my God, the vibes were off. Everybody was like, I could tell in the room, everyone's like, what the hell is going on? This is so bad. And I was like, what are you talking about? Hello. I just was like saying all these things. And like for a few days, I was like, I kept trying to hold on to it because I was like, no, she's great. She's great. Like I can be great too. And then finally I was like, oh, I can't be her. I have to be me. And that means that, you know, oh, I'm going to be bad, like worse than her. And it's like something clicked in my brain where it was like, no, Cecily, you just get to be you. And people come to yoga class for you. And if you hide that, like the world is missing out on you. And like, she is allowed to be her and flourish. And I'm so happy that she exists because I obviously can't be her. I can't embody the things that she has, and that's okay. So there's enough room for everybody. And to me, that was like a moment of like, what a relief. Like, what a relief that I don't have to pretend. And it's like, I am good enough in my own right. And she's good enough in her own right. And what a beautiful thing that we can be a community and that I get to know her and take her class and receive from her. And people get to then receive from me in a very authentic way. And I think that was one of the biggest, one of a really huge milestone moment for me, where it was just like, hey, guess what? Like, you're enough. Be you. Let people be them. We don't need copycats.
Amen.
No.
I so love that. I think authenticity is one of the best forms of medicine. And a lot of times if there's a new yoga teacher trying it out, and I feel like my number one advice is always to say, just be yourself, which is hard because, you know, part of just being yourself is exploring, and sometimes it is trying on a different hat, we're all just these little ecosystems running around. But it's so true. Just yoga means accepting yourself and then letting that light radiate out and knowing that your people come to you. Like you're the moon, right? It's attracting whoever needs to see your light.
This is an important note as you go on through your day, to let your light shine and stand in your own self and know that you are more than enough as you are. There's no pieces of the puzzle that you have to change. You are you, and that is enough, and there's space for you at the table.
So what to expect? Future topics. We want to talk about everything. We want to talk about
everything.
Yeah, and you know, talk about the ego and the mind and what that really means, because there's all these buzzwords like what the heck is fascia? What is Ozempic doing to our bodies? What are peptides? Like, we want to talk about the culture and what's going on in wellness, and we want to talk about nervous system regulation. We want to talk about retreats. We want to talk about travel stories. We want to talk about sacred traditions and how to bring them into your everyday reality. There's so many things to discuss. Yoga is not about becoming somebody else. It's about becoming yourself more and more and more in all your beautifulness.